all this controversy to try to get traded. He badmouthed the coach. He badmouthed the quarterback. He badmouthed the general manager. Never played it down and then got cut. If you just stick to the football field, he's a Steeler legend. That 6-year stretch that he had is literally unmatched. If you had Antonio Brown on your fantasy league team, he led you to fantasy league football victories. Him by himself. Does he deserve to have his number retired? Absolutely not. You can't be bad-mouthing your quarterback like that. He burned every bridge that Pittsburgh has. And there's a whole bunch of bridges in Pittsburgh, but is he still a Steeler legend based on what he did on the field? 100% absolutely.
Welcome to Big B Daily. No frauds allowed.
What is going on, everybody? What is happening? Welcome back to Big B Daily. This is your man, Big B. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Got a good show here lined up for everybody today, so appreciate everybody showing up, showing out. As always, Big B Daily, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday. We appreciate everybody being here, man. Thank you, guys. We are talking a little bit of Bears football today. They're going to be on Hard Knocks, so we're going to talk about that in a sense and what we can look forward to and seeing from the Bears this year. Then we're talking about the Ohtani case. It's officially closed. The cover-up is sealed. The Major League Baseball, like I mentioned a second ago, Major League Baseball should be ashamed of themselves. This is absolutely ridiculous what they're doing. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And then we're also going to do a little countdown today of our top 10 NBA champions of all time, counting that down as we get closer to the NBA Finals, which starts tomorrow. So we'll break that down too, as well as have our Q&A section at the end. So appreciate everybody being here, man. Remember, always comment. Let your voice be heard. If you like what we're doing and you love the show or you like the show and you want to help support the show, remember there are different ways to do that, whether it's likes, follows, subscribes, tips, super chats to help control the conversation, all that good stuff. We appreciate all of it. Thank you guys, as always. Love you guys. Let's get into the show. So the first things first, let's talk about these Bears. Chicago Bears have been down for quite a few years now, and they are getting their chance to be on HBO's Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks has taken a turn the past couple of years, in my opinion, on how the show has been created. It used to be a lot about, some of the stories of, undrafted guys, fringe roster guys. It used to be filled with that. Last year, it was basically the Aaron Rodgers show. That's what the entire thing was about. It got annoying, and not because whether you like or dislike Aaron Rodgers, they didn't talk about anything else. So I'm looking forward to getting back. Now, granted, I'm sure this is going to be loaded with Caleb Williams, which is okay, but I want them to get back to, and maybe they've listened because I know that was a big outcry. They didn't talk about some of the stories that were involved last year. It was literally all about Aaron Rodgers. So hopefully we get back to telling more stories, have 4 or 5 people that are featured on the show and go that route. But this is a big year for the Bears, in my opinion. So in my opinion, I think the Bears got to put something together. I really do. I think they got to put something together. And they have the opportunity to put something together, So that's the good thing there, is that the Bears have an opportunity with that schedule, which is a bad schedule. I mean, what is it, 30th in the league? They've improved their roster, especially on offense. They had a good run defense last year. Let's see what the Bears can do. Let's see. Personally, I think Caleb Williams is a football player. I think he can go. I think he's going to have his struggles. And of course, there's going to be the haters that as soon as he throws an interception, see, I told you he couldn't play. He's terrible, yada, yada, yada. Okay. But I am looking forward to seeing what Caleb Williams can do. I am looking forward to that. So hopefully we've got that and we can put that together. The Bears can put something together and win some games. Hopefully they can go win some games. So I like what they put together on offense. They upgraded. Lord have mercy. I mean, they already had DJ Moore. First off, let's start out with the quarterback. Caleb Williams, is he better than Justin Fields? Yeah, I think he is. Even though Justin Fields went to my Steelers, that doesn't mean there's not people better than him. So, yeah, I think he is. You already had DJ Moore. You got DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen. They upgraded. Then they drafted Rome Odunze. I just think that the Bears have upgraded. They upgraded the talent level. Things they didn't do for Justin Fields, they're doing for Caleb Williams to ensure that they can win. So I think I give the Bears an opportunity. Somebody said they think the Bears are going 10-7. That might be a little lofty, but it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. I said the Bears were going to win between 8 and 9 games this year. I'm going to stand by that. But 10 wins, who knows? Who the hell knows? Like, everybody's jumping on the Green Bay bandwagon, and I'm jumping on the Green Bay bandwagon. But you remember the first half of last year in Green Bay. It was terrible. It was terrible. Now, they got it together the second half of the season and played well in the playoffs, but the first half was terrible. Who's to say they don't revert back to that? Who says that doesn't happen? So before we go and just scream from the mountaintops that, that the Bears don't have a shot and it's just going to be Green Bay and Detroit, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's pump the brakes. Now, do I think Detroit, they're both going to be good? Yeah, I do. I think Detroit and Green Bay are going to be good. I think both of them are going to make the playoffs. I think both of them are going to be over 10 wins. But would we really be surprised if one of them takes a step back? No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't. But I like the Bears' chances. I like what the Bears did. The Bears are going for it. Good for them. Good for them. They're trying to win right now. And there's nothing wrong with trying to win right now. And I know people are going to say, well, they got a rookie quarterback. It's going to take time. That's not what they believe. Otherwise, why do you trade for Keenan Allen if you're not trying to win right now? That doesn't make any sense. You're trading for a veteran guy that makes a lot of money, and maybe they keep him after this year, maybe they don't. But why would you trade for him if you're not trying to win this year? Doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. They're trying to win now, and good for the Bears for trying to win now. So I just like what the Bears are putting together. I like that. So hopefully that things come together. Now, I don't like the head coach. Eberflus, I don't think he's a great head coach, but maybe he's getting out of the way. They brought in a new offensive coordinator, so maybe he's going to get out of the way. I don't know. I hope so. It seemed odd that this general manager didn't hire the coach. They struggled. They're basically starting over with a new quarterback, but they didn't start over with the new coach. That I don't know. I just don't know. And it would seem that you would start over with a new coach, but maybe they like what the coach had to do. Maybe they said, you know what? It was the players. It wasn't the coach. So maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe they're thinking that it was the players and not the coach. We saw that in Detroit 2 years ago on defense, where they basically said, hey, man, we're not getting rid of our defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. It's not him. It's the players. We need to get better players. And they did that, and they got better. So I like that approach. I do. I like that approach. So let's take a look and see what some people are saying here. My man Austin says, hard to be high on Eberflus. The first half of the season was a disaster for the Bears. Yeah, it was. It was. So, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He was bad. He was bad. So, who was the last team to have a good season after being on Hard Knocks? Whew. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't really paid that much attention to it, but I think it's been a minute. I think it has been a minute. The Cowboys weren't horrible the year they were on it, but I want to say it's been a minute. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what happens. Like I said, I'm a believer in Caleb Williams. So I'm a believer in Caleb Williams. Somebody saying they should have got Harbaugh to be the head coach. Yeah, they probably should have. They probably should have. But if you're Harbaugh, were you going to go there, though? Where would you rather be if you're Jim Harbaugh? You're in Los Angeles. You probably got a nice house on the beach. You're making a ton of money, and Justin Herbert's your quarterback. Or Chicago, where you got a rookie for a quarterback. The organization is a disaster. Now, don't get me wrong. The Chargers organization is a disaster as well. But the Bears are a disaster, and you don't get to live on the beach. So there's, you got to factor all that in. That matters. That matters. But either way, I'm excited to see what the Bears are going to do. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Like I said, I think Caleb Williams is going to be able to play good football. They got to help him. There's no question. They got to help him. But I think they've put some things in place where they're going to be able to do that. I really, really do. We're going to move on. But like I said, good for the Chicago Bears. I think Chicago is in a good spot. We're going to find out, though, and I am really looking forward to seeing the Hard Knocks. And like I said, hopefully Hard Knocks gets back to the telling the stories of rookies and some of the stories, that it's not just a Caleb Williams show. That's the one thing, because I won't watch it. I'll be honest with you. I won't watch it. And it has nothing to do with whether I do or don't like Caleb Williams. I want some compelling stories to watch. I don't need to see a documentary, a Caleb Williams documentary like last year. We got an Aaron Rodgers documentary. I don't need to see that. A matter of fact, I'm not interested in that. And I won't watch it. Just like I stopped watching Hard Knocks last year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with all of that. Hopefully, it turns into something better. So hopefully it does. Having said that, let's move on, people. Let's move on. This next story we have covered several different times. We're going to cover it again today because as of yesterday, Ohtani, his interpreter, pleaded guilty to basically bank fraud charges, wire fraud, all that good stuff for betting with a bookie. All that stuff has happened. So the question is, was it a cover-up? What does Ohtani actually know? I've said it once. I'll say it a million times. Ohtani absolutely, he either knew what was going on or he bet on the games himself. One of the two. There's not a chance in hell that anybody's going to be able to get me or any sane person to believe that Ohtani wasn't betting on baseball. That's just not true. That just didn't happen. Okay? So Ohtani, number one, he absolutely did it. So he absolutely did it. And the interpreter is the fall guy. We've seen there be fall guys before. And that's okay. That's okay. Nothing wrong with there being a fall guy. But we've seen it happen before. We've 100% seen it happen before. So it's just one of those things where And Major League Baseball is basically saying nothing happened. Nothing to see here. Case is closed. Well, hold on a second. What do you mean the case is closed? They did their own investigation. They investigated for, what, a month and a half? A month and a half of investigating. Yeah, it's done. We're done. What? What are we talking about? We're done. Oh, my God. It's incredible. It's just incredible. Like I said, he knew something. And I don't care what anybody says. Ohtani knew something, man. His best friend, his interpreter, who's been with him for years, somehow was able to steal $16 million away from him. And he never, ever checks his account. Next thing you know, his best friend on the Angels, remember that. He played for the Angels. His best friend on the team is betting with the exact same bookie. Let me repeat that so people actually understand. Ohtani's best friend, an interpreter, and his best friend on the team, it literally bet with the exact same interpreter. I just don't understand how anybody with a sane mind that's not biased can believe that Ohtani didn't know when $16 million somehow went missing. Oh, by the way, remember when the report first came out, Ohtani himself says, oh, yeah, I paid off my buddy's debt. That's what he said. I paid off his debt for him. 45 minutes later, after Major League Baseball gets involved and said, hold on, what? You can't say that. All of a sudden, the story changes to, oh, actually, he stole money from me. Get out of here, man. Nobody wants to hear it. He stole 16. And again, I don't know how much money any of us in this chat, in this live, I don't know how much money anybody has. But I'm guessing from time to time, you look at your bank account. Whether you look at it daily, 3 times a day, every other day, once a week, once a month. I'm guessing you look at your bank account. And let's just say you had $1,000 in there that you knew should be in there. If it was down to $200, you would have some questions. You would want to know what the hell is going on. You would have questions. You're telling me that $16 million of Ohtani's money is gone and I got enough. Doesn't matter. I got $100 million. Who cares about 16 million bucks? Doesn't matter. I don't need it. That's what somebody's actually wanting us to believe. Your financial people that are actually watching the money. Nobody there said, "Hey, what's going on? $16 million is going. What is going on? What are you doing?" Nobody brought that up. Nothing. Nobody said anything. They probably didn't say anything because Ohtani probably told them, hey, I'm gambling. I'm sending this money such and such, but my buddy is the one who's going to get the money out. You guys good? Oh, you're not good? Yeah, I'm going to take my money somewhere else. This $100 million, I'm going to take it somewhere else. Oh, now you are good. Okay, stop. Oh, by the way, you're going to sign this NDA, so you're not going to say anything about any of this. Because if you do, I'll sue you for $1 billion. We good? We're good. End of story. That's the end of it. But for Major League Baseball to literally just say the case is closed. What? Come on, man. What is going on? What are we doing? Oh, my God. It's just crazy. It is just crazy. So, but whatever. Like I said, if that's the cash cow, And that's what Major League Baseball wants to do. At this point in time, clearly it's what they want to do. They have decided that we can't allow this to happen to the biggest star that we've had in years. He's the biggest international superstar, maybe going today. Maybe today, you know, and yet he's tied up in this gambling. We can't let it happen. We can't let it happen. And baseball just covered it up. Nope, didn't do it. He's got a fall guy. That's the guy who stole the money. He's going to prison. Oh, by the way, we're going to deport him. Yeah, maybe here's what I would like. Let an investigative reporter stay on top of this. I don't know how you're going to find out if he had any money. You can't get access to somebody's bank account. But I'd be willing to bet when he gets deported back to Japan, he's going to have a nice little nest egg to sit on. And he's going to be fine. Let's just say that. He will be fine. So 18 months in a club fed to come out with $50 million, not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. So, oh well. But yeah, baseball should be ashamed of themselves saying that the case is closed. Like they did a thorough. I mean, the feds are investigating, but we don't need the FBI. We don't need the federal government involved. We're going to do it internally. We're fine with it. We've got our investigators. We'll do fine. Really? Jiminy Christmas. My man Austin. Major League Baseball, highly dysfunctional and corrupt since the steroid stuff. The downfall of the sport has been mostly self-induced. You know, baseball basically tried to commit suicide, and I apologize. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but that's the analogy that I'm going to use. They basically tried to commit suicide by when they had that labor strike in 1994? And they didn't have the World Series. They basically decided right then and there, and from there, it was their downfall. They came back and said, okay, well, we got to allow steroids so we can get the fans back. And it worked. It worked. And then fans are mad because now you're vilifying some of these people that use steroids. The majority of fans, I shouldn't say everybody, but the majority of us fans are mad because, hey, man, we knew you used steroids. We knew that's what happened. But why are you vilifying the people that did it? You wanted them to do it. I don't know. I just, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Oh. But whatever. Major League Baseball has been so highly dysfunctional for so long. I mean, that's why a lot of people can't watch it. The same teams tend to win every single year because there's no revenue. I mean, there's revenue sharing, but there's no salary cap. If they did it like the NFL and you constituted, first of all, you'd have to still be very good at your job with your scouting department, but you could constitute with a salary cap. You could bring in parity, but they're not interested in parity. So I don't know. I don't know. That's just my personal feelings about it all. That's just my personal feelings about it all. So, and Ohtani, he did it. I don't care what anybody says. He did it. And you're never going to be able to convince me otherwise. So, you're never going to be able to convince me that he didn't do it. I don't care what. His two best friends in the United States outside of his wife are both gambling with the same person, and somehow he didn't know. Oh, and $16 million of his money is being wired somewhere, and he didn't know. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Here's a good comment by my man K-Ned. You telling me a hyper-competitive about everything, including who has the biggest contract and counts every slight ever spoken, is just going to not notice a missing $16 million. Exactly. That's my whole thing. You know, if you want to say whatever about, well, it was gambling, blah, 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 okay, and the guy didn't know that those guys were gambling, okay. But now you're trying to get me to believe that I also didn't know that $16 million of my money was missing, and the people that I pay to watch my money, that they didn't know either? That's what you're trying to tell me? Come on. I don't buy it. And maybe that's because now we're all cynical because of what has happened in this world. But like I said, you'll never be able to convince me, a man that doesn't have anywhere even remotely close to those means. I watch my money every day. And like I said, everybody in here at some point watches their money and knows how much money they have in their account. Even if you only look at it once a month. If you think that you should have $500 in there and you got $20, you're going to have some questions. Now, all of a sudden, $16 million is gone and you aren't asking anybody anything and you knew nothing? Come on. Come on. But it is what it is, man. They're going to let it ride. Major League Baseball has decided they are going to let it ride. The case is closed, according to them. It's a closed matter. No more investigating. They're done. They're done. I guess my question is, what if more comes out? What if the guy that's going to jail, he pleaded guilty, but what if he says, you know what? This is what really happened. And he comes out and says it. Is baseball going to open up another investigation? Or are they going to say, no, this guy's just lying? I mean, he's already pleaded guilty, so you can't unplead, and change your plea. So he's pleaded guilty. But what if he comes out with a book? Or what if he does an interview and says, yeah, I actually took the money, but Ohtani knew exactly what I was doing, and I was betting all of it on his behalf. I took the fall because I didn't want him to get in trouble. What if he says that? What if he does an interview with somebody and says all of that? Is baseball just going to say, he's lying? I mean, like I said, Major League Baseball, I mean, it's a joke, but that's why people can't get that tied into it. And you're right, my man, Pat Cockrell. It is wild. Wild that Ohtani is going to get away with this right after they just handed down a lifetime ban to a player. The difference is Ohtani's one of the biggest stars in all of sports internationally. Another guy, you didn't even know his name. The other guy also did it bad too. You can't be betting on your own team with your own money out of your own account. Not that you should do it at all, because you shouldn't. But if you are going to, at least you got to try to be slick about it. That guy wasn't even trying to be slick. He's just like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to bet out of my own account, and that's it. And I'm going to bet on my own team, by the way. And that's it. Yeah, it doesn't really work like that, buddy. I'm sorry. Doesn't really work like that at all. Does not. But it is what it is, people. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, and we're going to move on. We got some other things to talk about, but like I said, I just think it's absolutely hilarious what Major League Baseball is actually doing and saying with Ohtani. So if you happen to be on a platform that's freezing up, make sure you click on the live link that's in my bio and come on over. You will not get frozen up on it. I promise you that. I appreciate you. So come on over and do that. We're going to move on here to the next topic. One that I think is going to be a little fun today. And I need everybody joining in. Let me know exactly what you thought or what you think. First things first, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 9 a.m. Central, Big B Daily comes on live, several different platforms. Again, we appreciate you. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, if you like the show and you like what we're doing and you want to help support the show, make sure that you do so with a follow, subscribe, comment, but also super chat if you want to help control the conversation. We appreciate that. Thank you guys for supporting the show. So let's get into this. NBA Finals, it starts tomorrow. And usually we do a top 10 list. And our top 10 list we do on Fridays. But because the finals, and I'll be honest with you, there's not a ton to talk about right now. Because the finals are what it is, we are going to come up with a top 10 list of NBA championship teams, the best championship teams of all time in the NBA. Starting at number 10, we got the New York Knicks. So the Knicks, I think that was famous for, I know, the old Willis Reed, but they had Dave DeBusschere, Clyde Frazier. Smooth. Clyde Frazier is still dressing cool, isn't he? 60 years later, that man is still dressing cool. Old Clyde Frazier, Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley. Team was loaded with talent. 1970 New York Knicks comes in at number 10. At the number 9 spot, the 1992 Chicago Bulls. Now, here's the thing about the Bulls. I think this is one of their better teams. Obviously they had Jordan. They dominated the NBA. This is the year that they beat Portland. But the supporting cast, obviously Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, underrated Bill Cartwright at the time, John Paxson knocking down clutch shots. So they were better than the year before. That team, the year before that won the title, their first title. This was the second title in their first three-peat, if that makes sense. This was the second title of their first three-peat, which they did too. So they had the 5th winningest season in league history. They beat the Trailblazers 4-2 in the 1992 NBA Finals. 1992 Chicago Bulls come in at number 9. Number 8 on the list, 1967 Philadelphia 76ers. Look, there wasn't a lot of us, if any of us were around back then, but you got to do some research on some of this stuff. You got to do your research. This was one of the best teams in NBA history, okay? Now, Wilt Chamberlain, we all know about Wilt Chamberlain and, his dominance, but they also had Chet Walker, Billy Cunningham, and Hal Greer. And if you don't know about those guys, again, you got to do your history. Now, that doesn't make you a casual, It doesn't mean you don't know ball because you don't know who played on the 1967 76ers. Lord have mercy. But if you do want to go and check and find out, some of the best teams in NBA history, this is one of them. They beat the Celtics. The Celtics were winning all those titles in a row. They stopped them, beat them 4-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. So they had set the record in league history for the most wins, in a season. So these 76ers were very, very good. Again, led by Wilt Chamberlain, which, look, Wilt doesn't get his due. A lot of people saying he wasn't as good and all that. You know what? He didn't always have the best team. But don't tell me Wilt Chamberlain wasn't good. Don't tell me Wilt Chamberlain wasn't dominant. He was. He absolutely was. And I'll argue with anybody who says that he wasn't. I just don't want to hear it. But that's the number 18, the 67 Philadelphia 76ers. Coming in at number 7, the 1965 Boston Celtics. Now, at the time, they set the record for league victories that they had beat from the previous year. So, and this was they set that record and for the most wins in a season and went on to win 7 consecutive championships. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane that this team had won that many. This wasn't the first of those titles, but they won 7 titles, and this was the best team of all those Celtic squads, this 65 team. You know, again, the great Bill Russell leading the way, Tom Sanders, Sam Jones. Sam Jones is super underrated. Sam Jones is underrated. Now, granted, the way they played basketball back in those days, it was different. But Sam Jones is super, super underrated for how good he was. Just really, really underrated. And then they had a young John Havlicek. Look, to deny how good Hondo was, I'll just put it like this. I think it makes sense if people want to put him in the top 5 small forwards of all time. I wouldn't say that you're wrong. I might think that there may be a couple of guys better, but there's not 10 small forwards better than him. I know that for an absolute fact. There isn't 10 in NBA history that are better than Havlicek. And for the stat merchants out there that want to praise LeBron, you better double check when you start talking about Hondo. You better double check and check his stats because the guy put up some stats. He did. And he did the majority of it as a 6-man. So there's that. 1965 Boston Celtics come in at number 7. Number 6, 1983 Philadelphia 76ers. This team was led by Moses Malone. Again, a man that is so underrated. Moses Malone, way underrated for how good he was. You know, a rebounding phenomenon, especially on the offensive glass. Just couldn't keep him off the boards. Could not keep the man off the boards. Dr. J, also on this team, he finally got some help. He had been to the championship a few times, never got the help that he needed in Philadelphia. They made a trade the previous season or before the season to get Moses Malone. They bring him in. Boom. They immediately win a championship. But it wasn't just him. It wasn't just those two, I should say. Andrew Toney, Maurice Cheeks, and another man widely underrated for his defense, Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones, very, very underrated. Very underrated as a defensive player. But Malone was the guy. He came out with the before the playoffs, fo. That's what they were going to do on their way to a title. It didn't end up being that way. They lost one game, but that was it. Very, very good basketball team. One of the best. One of the best to win a title. Number 6, the 1983 Philadelphia 76ers. So coming in at 5, look, 1972 Los Angeles Lakers. There's an argument you could even put them at 1. This is one of the best teams of all time. Wilt Chamberlain. Now, this was a Wilt that was winding down, but you had Jerry West, Gail Goodrich. They set the record for having the most wins in the regular season at 69 wins. They had the number 1 offense in the league and the number 2 defense in the league that season. They absolutely unbelievable. They won 33 games in a row at one point in time. Just an outstanding basketball team. And again, a lot of people will say that you could put them right at the top as being the best. But Big B Daily, we've got them at number 5, the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers. And number 4, we got the Chicago Bulls of 1996. 96 Bulls. They won 72 games. Again, at the time, it was a record for the most wins in the regular season. They had Jordan. They had Pippen. They had Rodman, Kukoc. They also had Phil Jackson. So we will see exactly, or we saw exactly how good they were. Steve Kerr was also on that team. Luke Longley was on that team. They had pieces that fit what they were trying to do. That Chicago Bulls team was outstanding. Plus, Jordan was on a mission. He was on a mission to prove everybody wrong. Hey, yeah, I stepped away for 18 months. And yes, the Magic, they had their way with me. They proved that I have to be at the top of my game to be able to win. Well, he came back and was at the top of his game. They were just outstanding. Dennis Rodman was phenomenal with that team, by the way. Dennis Rodman was absolutely phenomenal. Offensively, rebounding wise. And believe it or not, Dennis Rodman, even with all his theatrics, extremely hard worker and a leader. And super smart. That Dennis Rodman doesn't get enough credit for how smart he was on the basketball court on the defensive end. Really on both ends, but understanding defense, understanding switches and rotations. Just outstanding. Outstanding how smart he was. That's why that team was so good defensively. But number 4, the 1996 Chicago Bulls. Coming in at number 3, the 2017 Warriors. There's been a lot of talk here lately about a Detroit Pistons team that's better than the 2017 Warriors. I think that's laughable. I really do. I think that is just laughable at best. But either way, a team with KD and Steph Curry, when Steph Curry doesn't get mentioned first, you know that basketball team is good. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. And as much as I am the vice president of the Draymond Green hater committee, Draymond Green is a good basketball player. He just is. And he's great in that system. He is great in that system for what he does. Facilitator, defense, setting screens, getting guys open, being a leader, being a vocal leader at that. Draymond Green is good. He's good, and he's outstanding for that team. And they were great. They were just great. So, no deny. That's one of the best teams in NBA history, the 2017 Golden State Warriors, coming in at number 3. So, coming in at 2, 1986 Boston Celtics. Lord have mercy. Look, there's no secret that Larry Bird is my favorite basketball player of all time. I don't hide it. I don't try to hide it. I mean, he's my favorite basketball player of all time. But that team was loaded. It had Kevin McHale, one of the most fundamentally sound postmen to ever play basketball. He came into his own that season and was outstanding. You know, you could give the band the ball in the post, and he had move on top of move, counter on top of counter, and they could lay the ball in. That was Kevin McHale. He was a dude. I know that's the new saying, but that man was a dude. He just was. So Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson, one of the more underrated. I've used that a lot. One of the more underrated basketball players, defensive point guards to play in the NBA. Danny Ainge, Robert Parrish, Lord have mercy. And then you had an old Bill Walton. Bill Walton, bad feet and all, came off the bench, provided a spark, one of the best teams to ever play. They won 67 regular season games. They ended up beating an outstanding Lakers team in 1986. But the Boston Celtics coming back, being the world champion. I mean, in those days, it was Boston Lakers, 86, one of the best teams to ever play. And the number 1 spot for me, 1987 Lakers. Magic, Kareem, Worthy. It just is what it is, people. It just is what it is. The Lakers, the 1987, they also had Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, A.C. Green, Pat Riley was the coach, Michael Thompson. Just a phenomenal basketball team. Just phenomenal. Not to mention, Kareem wasn't done. Kareem was older, and that's why a lot of young people, they look back at stuff and they say, oh, Kareem couldn't do this. He couldn't move. I'm like, yeah, you were watching the 35-year-old Kareem. But in 1987, even at 37, Kareem was still a guy. He was still a guy that you had to deal with. Because if you didn't deal with him, he'd go get you 30. He would go get you 30. So, absolutely. Kareem was that guy. So, in order, going from 10 to 1, 10, we got the 70 New York Knicks. Number 9, 92 Bulls. Number 8, the 67 76ers. 7, 65 Boston Celtics. 6, the 1983 76ers. Number 5, 1972 Lakers. Number 4, 96 Chicago Bulls. Number 3, the 2017 Golden State Warriors. Number 2, the 86 Boston Celtics. And number 1, the 87 Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to jump right into Q&A, but I want to know what your all's thoughts are. What are your all's thoughts? Let's see here. Let me go up. Let me pull up some stuff from you guys. Some questions. Bulls, baby. The Warriors had that record, plus didn't win. Yeah. The Warriors won 73 games, but they didn't finish the job. So you don't make the list. First of all, this was the top champions. That's number one. And they weren't a champion, so they couldn't be on this list. So there's that. You're really not high on teams post-2000, are you, Big B? I am. I just think these other teams are better. That's all. That's all. It's not that I'm not high on them or think they're any good, but what teams post-2000 are going to be better than these? Like the Shaq Kobe teams, if it's Shaq and Kobe, and then what? Now, granted, it was Shaq and Kobe, two of the top 10 best basketball players ever. Okay, then what? Then there was a significant drop-off after that. Significant. And when you're playing at the top levels against these guys, these teams, yeah, no, I'm sorry. So that's just me, though. That's just me. Yeah, Pat, no. No Shaq and Kobe Lakers teams. No. I don't think so. No. My man Joey says the 96 Bulls, at least 2. Nah. No. But I get it. I respect everybody's opinion. But no, not 2. Not 2. So, but I like them. Oh, talking about airplane with Kareem. That was funny. Havlicek was awesome. Yeah, he was. People just don't know. So, yeah, we talked about Larry Allen passing a couple days ago, Mr. Woody. So, let's see. My man Pat I still have the 96 Bulls as my number 1. Nah, I don't think the 96 Bulls were a great team. They're not better than those other teams, though. They're just not. They're not. For instance, let's just start with the Lakers. We saw, a healthy Magic is doing his thing. And then what? Because if you remember, they had to put Pippen on Magic. Remember that? They had to put Pippen on Magic in the 91 finals because he gave Jordan the blues. Okay. Well, then who's going to guard James Worthy? Because that ain't going to be Michael Jordan because he's 4 inches shorter than him. Oh, by the way, Kareem is going to give whoever is guarding. Don't tell me Dennis Rodman. Stop it. He's going to give him the blues. So that's all I'm saying. They're not going to be able to stop that 87 Lakers team. You're just not. They're just not. Too much going on. So, too much going on. Would the Heatles be in the top 20? Maybe. I mean, yeah, they wouldn't be in the top 10, but in the top 20, yeah. One of those teams, maybe 2012 or 2013. I think 2012 was their best year because I think 2012, that was LeBron's best year. Just everything. I think 2012 was LeBron James' best year in the NBA. I absolutely believe that. 2012 and 2013 were his best years. Just incredible. Just incredible. So that's my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. Some of the best stuff we've ever seen. So, no, the Spurs didn't make it. Sorry. Didn't make it. Mm-mm. Why? Hold on. Why does Phil Jackson get mentioned with his talented teams and Riley gets credit for Lakers, but Casey Jones never gets mentioned with the Celtics? I think Casey Jones should be mentioned. I think he absolutely should be mentioned. I mean, yeah, absolutely. He won 2 titles. I don't know why he doesn't get mentioned, but he should. He absolutely should. Now, just because they didn't beat the Lakers, every year, well, who else beat the Lakers every year? But they won twice, 84 and 86, and Casey Jones was the head coach. He should get mentioned. But he won 2 titles where Phil Jackson has 11. There's a difference. There's a difference. If Phil Jackson, if Casey Jones won like 8 or something like that, you could talk about it. But he's only won 2, so he's not going to get mentioned in the same breath. But I think he gets brought up some, but he should probably be brought up more. So he should be brought up more. Let's see, what else we got? See, I think LeBron's best year was 2016. That was maybe the best team that he played on, but LeBron as himself, his best year as a player was 2012 and 2013. I don't think there's any question. In the playoffs, don't get me wrong, he was a monster. But if you're just saying, okay, what is LeBron? Just look at him athletically and everything that he did. What is his best year? 2012, 2013, those 2 years. Those 2 years for LeBron in Miami were incredible. Just incredible. Just incredible. But I'm not mad at you talking about 2016 when they came back. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. So let's see here. What else do we got? Yeah, I like the list. And the reason I like this list is because people are going to talk and bring up other teams about it. I like that. I like that point. I like when you guys bring up other teams, like the Spurs, 2014. Yeah, not in my top 10, but a phenomenal team. Phenomenal team. Phenomenal. McHale and Robert Parrish. Yeah, they were very good. They were very good. Kevin McHale, super underrated. Super underrated. His offensive package was incredible. It was incredible. The thing that I like is when you hear about Kevin Garnett, when he went to Minnesota, he said he didn't know how he had to look at tapes. He had no idea how good Kevin McHale actually was. And when he started looking up tapes, he started looking at film on how to play in the post. He watched Kevin McHale tapes. He said he had no clue how good he actually was. And he was outstanding. His footwork and what he could do around the rim, they don't do that anymore because they don't use a post player anymore. They don't, basketball's not played that way anymore. Although, again, I 100% believe that it can be, but they don't do that anymore. But the bottom line is Kevin McHale was incredible. That 86 Boston Celtics team, incredible. Incredible. So, mm, mm, mm. The bad boys didn't make the list. Nope, not this time, Jason Parkinson. Not this time. Sorry. Didn't make the list. Didn't make the list. I mean, the thing about it is, I like them, but I didn't like their style of basketball. You could say I'm biased, but no, not for me. Not for me. Great team. Don't get me wrong. Great team, but just not for me. Not for me. So, yeah, ex Capone, the Spurs had some great championship teams. They sure did. They sure did. Just not enough to make this list. So, we're going to shut this one down today, people. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank everybody for showing up and showing out. Good list. We'll be back tomorrow to check out some more stuff. Again, Big B Daily, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. We will be live once again. I appreciate everybody showing up and showing out. NBA Finals starts tomorrow. Finally, we get some basketball again. And then who knows how long this series is going to get drug out. Oh, my goodness. Again, I got basketball fatigue. I'm going to enjoy these finals. I'm rooting for Boston. I am picking, or I take that back. I'm rooting for Dallas, but I am picking Boston in 6. I can give that away. I'm rooting for Dallas, but I am picking Boston in 6. We'll get back to a lot of this tomorrow. Appreciate everybody being here, man. Aloha.